Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is Wednesday, and we all know what Wednesday means. Wednesday means guest speaker Wednesday. I'm so excited about today. Come on in, say hello, let us know where you're from. Also, if you got a notice that this showed up, great. If you didn't get a notice, let me know because it didn't happen this morning. So I don't know if Facebook changed something or not, but I'd like to know that you're getting the notifications, which is really important. Hello, Julie. Thank you for being here. And Priscilla, our moderator, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to have you here. And guys, we're gonna we're going to talk about who this person next to me is in a second. And I am so thrilled, but I want to say hello to you guys. And there she is, the woman that introduced us. Janelle, good to see you, my friend. Good to have you here. And Delora, good to see you. I hope your trip to a block away was great. I'm smiling when I say that. You got a notification. Excellent. Hello, Gina. Good to see you. Julie, you did not get the notification. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome home. Thank you. Yes, the Bahamas was fun. I've missed seeing you on here, my friend, and it's good to see you. Michelle, always good to see you. Great picture. Upside down, but great picture. Looks like you're snuggling with the pooch. So very good. Okay. So, guys, I always like to have a couple minutes or so before we get into everything. And Sarah May from the UK, thank you for being on here. It is late in the UK. They are 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1:03 in the morning. My goodness. Lindsay, good to see you. I received a notification this evening and this morning, but I was in the meeting and couldn't join. No worries. Thank you for letting me know, though. I appreciate that. So, Danya, hello. Thank you. Thanks for being here. And Sister Sledge, Diane Sims, thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. So, guys, Laura was introduced to me by our lovely Janelle, and we were chatting, and we're like, let's do this. Let's have you come on live. And Laura was so gracious to, we're going to do a podcast later on in the month. And that's exciting. Hello, Karen. Thank you for being here. And I have to tell you, I'm so excited to find more about you, Laura. And for those of you that didn't read the flyer, um, Laura is, she's a nurse, she's an author, she's an energy healer, she's a psychic medium, and she is. I'm just going to give you a new title, Laura. She is the CEO of Guided Life Podcast. So, and thank you, Priscilla. So please, this is your website, laurawest.net. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes. Thank
Excellent.
you.
So, hey, Dorothy and Christine, good to see you. Thank you for being here. And if you're from TikTok, guys, let us know. Hello, TikTok friends. I'm so excited to have you guys on here. And let me do something so we don't have distraction because I get distracted when I do this work. I don't have ADHD, but when I channel or do any of this work, it's like, oh, squirrel. It's crazy. It's just crazy. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back to the comments. Laura's authentic
Oh,
light of love. I
thank you,
love that.
Janelle.
And
Thank
you
you.
are so gracious, Janelle. You really are. And
Yes.
guys, please go visit Janelle. Um, Janelle, I always like saying Malachi. I hope I said that right.
Sounded good.
Mystic. It does sound good, doesn't it? And you're from TikTok. Awesome. And thank you. You can find some podcasts here. Great. So, Laura, tell us,
Yeah.
how'd you get started in all this?
That's such a loaded question.
I know. I like it.
It's a good one. It is a good one. Because it's loaded because for me, I realize now in retrospect that it's actually started when I was really young, how I got into this. So for me, I grew up in a Jewish and a Christian household. And that was important for me in my journey, for many reasons. One, because I felt like it really set the tone within my family to allow me to experience multiple religions, multiple cultures. I'm half Korean, half Caucasian. So my parents were very open to that. It also helped that my mother was also open to, Buddhist teachings, anything that taught people to be good. And she would share that with us. She'd buy us the books, and I say us, my sister and I. So we had that. My father was very much into like the X Files and Star Trek, so into like paranormal, and also has said to me before that he felt like he was born too early. So those kinds of thoughts already starting to get implemented into my mind, those ideas. And then my grandmother, I'm going to get a little fuzzy with the order of events here, but my grandmother, she passed away when I was a teenager. She passed from cancer, and the night that she passed away, she came into my dreams, and I saw her and I said, "Grandma, you are all better." And it was just that day that we went and visited her at
Mm.
hospice, and you know how it is, breathing with a ventilator, lifeless. Looks The body looks so lifeless. So to see her in my dreams, her normal self with that New York accent, and she just looked great. And I said to her, "Grandma, you're all better." And she said, "Yes, I am." And then it was the next morning that we found out she had passed away. So
Wow.
that was the start. And she's actually played a paramount role in my mediumship spiritual journey from that point on. And then it was also around that time, having been brought up in both a Jewish and a Christian household, it was me deciding, did either of those feel like they fit for me, or did I fit for them? And I was really having like a hard time figuring out if Judaism was for me or Christianity was for me. So you can imagine my surprise when around that time I had, and this was again my teenage years, I had a dream where Jesus visited me. And he came in through that cloud of whatever ethereal smoke and on the arm of a grayed out silhouetted man. It was a pretty buff arm. I do remember that because I knew distinctly it was a man, but I only saw his arm, and only Jesus was in color. And my first thought when I saw Jesus was, he's really short. Because he seemed really short. But anyway, he came to me in the quintessential robe. He looked like the quintessential Jesus, and I think it was so I could recognize him. And
Sure.
he came up to me and he asked me if I would spread his word. And a million thoughts went through my head at that moment. This is all I'm sleeping in my dream. And I'm thinking to myself, he made a mistake. I'm thinking to myself, I don't even know if I consider myself Christian. How am I going to do this? I don't want to evangelize. So, all these thoughts. So, my response to him was, I'll try. And that was enough for him, because then they went back to through the cloud and back to the other side. And that was it. So, ever since then, I was thinking that, okay, because to me, spreading Jesus's word meant evangelizing. It was more a Christian based thought. So I was really confused with how that fit into my beliefs at the time. So I kind of just waited to see where it would fit in. And I just figured, well, I probably will take more to Christianity, is sort of was my thought, but I just kind of let it roll. Well, you can imagine my surprise and confusion again when just a couple years later, if that, I found my first Sylvia Brown book. She was a psychic medium who taught about spirituality.
Right.
And I was hooked. I was hooked. That was the first time I learned about spirit guides. It was the first time I heard somebody describe the other side, and to describe that there's a mother god, and all these ideas that made the other side so much more tangible. And it made so much sense. It was like this aha moment. I do call this spiritual awakening number one for me. So I was very much more confused. And I just kind of waited to see, okay, well, let's see how that fits in with what Jesus asked me to do. Because to me, they weren't the same. Like they weren't uh they didn't go together, was my
Mhm.
first thought. So, around that time I met my first spirit guide, Jason, who I work very closely with. Jason wrote the foreword to my book. And he's just been with me on this journey for the entire time, over many lives as well. And I met him in a dream soon after reading Sylvia Brown books, and she shared, you can meet your own spirit guide by asking them to visit you in a dream. And I did that, and a couple weeks later, he did come, and I knew it was him because I asked him, and he did give me his name. So then, moving on a little bit further, I would have dream visitations from people who've passed. I would hear disembodied voices when I was either falling asleep or waking up, that I couldn't really make out the words. A family dog that we had who had passed came to visit me in that dream state between asleep and awake, where I knew I was in my bedroom. It was daylight, but I couldn't move my body, but I was with my energetic body petting him and everything. It was a really surreal experience, so much so I remember it so much to this day. And that was probably in my early 20s when that happened. Continue to fast forward, and I always knew that, I really felt strongly to spirituality throughout that whole time, but I did kind of gear my focus more towards the more grounding things, like nursing school, and getting married and having children, starting a family, buying a house, like all of those things. They kind of took center stage, up until about 2019. Something happened at my work. I was working as a nurse. No patients were harmed, but I did make a decision that probably wasn't a good one. And I knew it as I was doing it, that it wasn't a good choice, but I did it anyways, and I got in some trouble. And it was then that I decided to hone in on my intuition. And that's what I said. I want to learn to hone in on my intuition. And at the time, what that meant to me was, I want to recognize what it feels like when something doesn't feel right so that I know not to do it again. That to me was intuition. So we moved to a new city at the time, and I made some new wonderful friends. And one of them told me about a local psychic to go visit, and I was very interested. So I decided to go visit her. And without telling her anything, she knew that I was very intuitive. She knew that I wanted to hone in on my intuition. And she told me that I had to start meditating. And I'm a big scaredy cat. So before that, I one, didn't think meditation was for me. I thought it was for gurus who sat on top of mountains, lotus position for 2 hours at a time, if longer. So I didn't think it was for me. And two, I was worried that if I would meditate, I would open up my body to whoever wanted to come and inhabit it. It was these crazy thoughts, right? So I didn't meditate until she said, I want you to start meditating and know that you were loved and protected. That's all I had to hear. It was like a permission. So I started meditating. I started with guided meditations because I wanted to make sure I did it right. I didn't know exactly what you're supposed to do when you meditated. So guided meditations were really helpful for that. And as I started to meditate, something was going on in this brain because I started to learn that I was channel writing. I was back at school writing papers. Writing papers came naturally to me, and it was a shock because it was writing the papers I was worried about when going back to school. And I was told by another psychic, "Oh, I see that you're writing a lot." Without knowing I was going to school, I said, "Yeah." She's like, "You're channel writing." I said, "Really?" I was so excited about that thought. So something happened where I started channel writing, and I started to really strengthen my relationship with my guide, so much so that I started to notice that Jason and whoever else on my soul team, which we'll talk about, were starting to push me in certain directions to get me to where I'm at now. So, for instance, wanting to practice and take classes on mediumship, which I always loved. I always loved watching like the John Edwards, the Teresa Caputos. I love the Tyler Henrys. I love watching those shows. I get so pumped and motivated. And I always felt that I was meant to do that work, but there was a block. So working through that block, getting over the fear of what opening up to mediumship would mean, I got the inkling to do energy healing, and I started to notice what my intuition was telling me, and it was more than just a safety mechanism to keep me from doing something wrong. It was so much more than that. And so when I learned to meditate, I started connecting stronger with my guides and those on my soul team. I started to realize how much more they help guide me in my life intuitively than just with red flags. And so once I recognized what that felt like within when I was being guided intuitively by my team, it was amazing all the opportunities that opened up for me and all the things that I said yes to when I in the past probably wouldn't have said yes to because it would have been too scary. So, for instance, practicing mediumship, for instance, writing a book, starting a podcast, all these things that I do these days now that I probably would not have done before because I very much like my privacy. I like to be comfortable, and if anything feels uncomfortable, if it weren't for my intuition, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. So many things that I've learned. I've been learning about myself. I've been learning spiritually about the other side, and so because of that, I am where am today, sitting here talking to you.
Well, I love this piece because, our topic is growing into intuitive confidence. And you have just stated about really stepping out of your comfort zone, really going into and letting go of the fear and totally understanding that each step leads to the next step. And that is the main way I would say that we build and we grow this intuitive confidence. It's like, again, I always say when you say yes to yourself, the universe says yes back. So I think it's great. And guys, please, 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 pardon me, please check out Laura's book. The cover is gorgeous. And I know you have a copy
I do.
there
I have it right
with
here.
you. It's called Guided. Look how beautiful that is. Look how it's like you're going along the trail and the little lights are there guiding you along the way to that light at the end of the tunnel. I got chills when I
I
saw
know.
the cover of this book. You,
Oh, thank you.
your people did a great job, really, truly, a great job.
They did. They did.
That's exciting. Let me just
Thank
say
you.
hello to a couple
Yeah.
people. Hello, Kathy. Good to see you. Janelle, correct him for us, Laura.
Malachi mystic.
Malachi
Malachi.
Mystic. Malachi. I'm just going to say it fast instead of saying it
Malachi.
slow. Malachi
I hope
Mystic.
I said it right,
Thank you.
Janelle.
Thank you. And MK, hello. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Jennifer says, I so can relate to what she's saying. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
And again, this is Laura's website. If you want to check it out, laurawest.net. Please go there. Nan, good to see you, my friend. Long time no see. Ashton, no worries. It's okay. It's totally okay. Ashton, well, we got it going on, right? We got it going on. And you're cute. You are cute, Janelle. Where can you find your book? Thank you for asking, Priscilla. You can find it on Amazon. You can find the Kindle and the hard
Paperback.
copy
Yep.
paperback on
Yep.
that. Got it, Laura.
Thank you.
You're cute. You're cute. So you talked a little bit about soul team. It's not a phrase that I use. It's a phrase that I understand, but it's not a phrase that I use. Can you explain everybody what soul team means to you?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's just a term that I came up with. Obviously, you can call them whatever you want, but I use the term soul team to sort of encompass all entities that are on your team in the spirit world. So, spirit guides, angels, ancestors, source, ascended masters, even mystical creatures like dragons and fairies and, and mermaids, everything. I mean, it's limitless. It really is limitless. So I use the term soul team to just capture whoever is meant to be on your team so that we don't really limit it. I used it a lot, especially when I was channel writing for other people, because I wanted to leave it up to them to decide who had to come through for the person I was channeling for.
Mhm.
So, you hear your pups.
They're going to start. I'm
Animals
going to put
are
myself
always
on mute.
welcome to me. Okay. So, I just left it open to whoever was intended to relay the message for the human that I was channeling for, because I didn't want to limit it. They know better than I do. So as the vessel, I just kind of leave it up to them to make that call. So that's how I came up with soul team. People say soul family, spirit team. It's whatever you want to call call them to sort of give them an overall name for the team that works with you in this life to keep you on your feet. But that's when I use it, either verbally or in my books, my book, I should say. That's what I mean by that. Are they going at it? I love it. So my dog, he makes his appearance. If you ever listen to my podcast, you may hear him in the back multiple.
There's still you can hear. So there you go.
One of
Thank
those.
you, Willow. Thank you so much. Oh, and thank you for that. Okay.
Oh,
Um, is this a chai? Thank you. That's very kind. My fiance just gave me a this, and yes,
lovely.
guys, fiance. Shh. I just said it. Shh. I just said it. Shh. Don't say anything. Shh. Now I'm blushing. Shh. Don't say anything. Okay. We'll talk about that later. So I'm sure Priscilla's like, what? And Sarah's like, what? I know. It just came out. It just
Congratulations.
came out, everybody. Okay. I've been trying to keep the secret and it came out. So we'll talk about it later. I don't want that to be the main focus, guys. What is her podcast? Thank you, Ashton, for asking.
Yes, it's called A Guided Life, and it's on multiple platforms like Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, Castbox. It's Anchor on all of them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we'll and if you Priscilla can find it, and Priscilla, you can put it on there. You can put it on there. So I want to talk about, so people understand the book Guided. It is really your journey and your tools of crystals and meditation and soul teams and mediumship. And I mean, I'm excited about getting the book. It is something that I wanted to do, and I'm like, with the Bahamas and everything, it was just crazy. But anyway, I love the book. I was drawn to the cover, and you guys just take a look at it. Just take a look at it, because, well, not only take a look at it, but take a look at it and buy it. And it's super great. Now, I want to ask you,
Hmm.
would you say that this work was like shocking, and then it just kind of like fluidity just came right in, and when you stepped out you got more, and then you stepped out more, and then it just kept on growing, which obviously I can't say it enough, people. When you say yes to the universe says yes back. So when you say it and you've got it, um, more stuff comes in, which makes you confident in what you're doing. And if you get little lessons on the side, bonus. It's a true bonus. Living a Guided Life with Laura West, the Awakened podcast. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh,
What?
that was an episode I was in,
Oh, this
actually.
is an episode.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
called A Guided Life. I can send you the link. That's fine.
Yeah. Send the
Yeah,
link.
I will.
Um, and write a review. Support our spiritual
Oh,
authors. You're so
thank
good,
you,
Janelle.
Janelle.
You are
Hey, you
so
think of all the you
good.
think of all of it.
She does. She does. Gosh darn it. She's
Thank
so
you.
good. She's like, whoosh, and it's there. You're so smart.
Yeah.
So smart. Gotta have you back on, Janelle, so we can chat as well.
Yeah.
What would you say is your most exciting aha moment?
Ah. Ah, there are so many. There are so many. But I have a great example that probably will cover that question, and also that when you say yes, the universe says yes back. I feel like I have a really good example, and it has to do with the book.
Okay.
So after I went to visit the psychic for that first time, I went and I saw her again because I was so blown away by her reading, that I wanted more. Like, what else can you tell me? And so I went back, and it was that time when she made sure I was writing down all my experiences, because she told me, "I see you writing a book." She mentioned more of like a workbook, which in the end, the book. This current book, it did kind of come out more like a guide a little bit, you know. Um, but she said, "Okay, I see you writing a book." And, it crossed my mind. Like, I had listened to some really great podcasts, where the guests were authors, and hearing their stories, it was inspiring. But to me, my thought was, there's the ego, the part of you where it starts to doubt was, one, do I even have enough to fill a book? And two,
Mm.
is what I have even interesting enough to be in a book? So I kind of just sat with that and kind of went about my day. Probably, I don't know, a month or two later, a nursing colleague, who a spiritual nursing colleague as well, actually, um, just totally separate from the psychic, said to me, "I see you writing a book." And I said, "Okay." Because by that time, I already knew, that the signs, I already was kind of in my spiritual journey where I knew when something was a sign from the other side. And to hear from two separate people on two separate occasions, the same thing, that I should be writing a book, I knew it was a sign from my team, my guides, that I should be writing a book. So I got off the phone with that friend, and it stuck with me, that writing a book. And I said out loud to my guide, I said to Jason, I said, "Okay, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to write a book." And as soon as I said that, I kid you not, I could not wait to get started. I ran and I grabbed my laptop and I sat there, and I it was like the motivation, it like flooded in, because before that I was like, "Oh, I don't know, we'll see." And then as soon as I said yes, like I gave the universe permission,
Right.
um they said yes back, and they said, "Let's get started right now." It's like I couldn't wait. And so, I grabbed my laptop and I'm sitting there at a blank Word document screen, and I'm like, "Okay, now what?" It's like page 1 is really hard to start. So by that time, though, I had already been channel writing. So I said, "Okay." I said, "Jason," my guide, I said, I'm always going on over here because he's usually over here
Right.
on
Sure.
my right, right. I said, and he loves this. He loves when I tell this story. I could just tell. And he said, I said to him, I'm like, "You're the one who wants me to write this." So you're going to tell me what to write. And so we started by channeling. And a lot of what I started with the channeling is the forward to the book. So the book is a forward from Jason, my guide, um, uh, from that initial channel session. And so he helped me to get started. And I will say, I did hire a book coach as well, to keep me accountable, to keep me on track, to help me with everything I needed to know to write a book, because this was all new to me. And she also did my edits as well, which was wonderful. And she told me one time in the process, she said, I want you to write down all of your experiences from beginning to now." And as soon as she said that to me, I sat at my laptop, and I kid you not, I probably sat there for 4 hours straight, motivated and excited to write these stories and revisit these moments that I had had, um, from younger years to now, and revisiting some moments that I realized I hadn't fully processed. For instance, the passing of my grandmother, or the passing of that pet dog, and that whole thing with taking him to the vet and everything like that. So it was very therapeutic, very healing. So I will say writing the book was probably one of the biggest things, also because it took over a year to write, to get it from start to finish. It took, I mean, for me, I feel like in in general it's probably pretty quick with writing a book, but for me, that was probably one of the longest things that I stuck to.
Sure.
And I do credit my team helping me with that, to continue to give me that motivation to do it from start to finish, because it is very easy to step away for a long time and not touch it for a while. It's very easy to get too overwhelmed with all of the nuances of just publishing, self-publishing. I had to hire a hybrid publisher, and for me, it was worth it, because it just was too much to think about the copyright and then the formatting. And I'm just like, "Ugh, just make it a book." So that's what we did. So having doing it with my team, because it was intuitively guided to do so, it gave me the energy, the motivation, the discipline to do it from start to finish. So I would say
And
it's
those are
probably
the
the biggest thing.
things that build the confidence, everybody.
Yes,
It
yes.
is really about, again, I'm going to say it again. saying yes to yourself, the universe says yes back. And how how we build that intuitive confidence is going further, taking that next tiny little step. As Laura is saying, when she's doing, she's saying, okay, I'm here. Now I'm going to go another step. And I think I got that. Now I'm going to go there. And that then allows you to take a leap, not just a step, but then a leap. And that leap then allows you to take a bigger leap. And you know that you've done those tiny little steps to allow you to take that leap, to give you the confidence to keep on going. And that's why I think this is astounding. Priscilla says, I found a quite a few. If you Google Guided Life podcast by Laura Les, they'll pop up in Apple. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. How do you work with your clients? What do your clients come to you usually for?
Yeah, great question. So when I'm working with people, with clients, it's to do readings or energy healings. So I do a lot of work with people's soul teams and spirit guides. So people who have those sorts of questions of, am I going to find a job? Am I going to find someone? Do I make this move? And sometimes very open ended, sort of my favorites are, what is it that I need to know? Or
Mhm.
am I on the right track? Those sorts of questions. But I really like to, when I start a reading with somebody, especially if it's to connect with members of their soul team, again leaving it very open to whoever's meant to come through, and I can usually tell which entity is coming forward, just because of the different visualizations that I have through my clairvoyance. But I like to start with the guides. I feel like that's just the place to start, unless past loved ones come through, because they have much less patience than spirit guides and other entities do. They just can't wait to come through and say hi to their loved ones. But if we don't have any of them coming through at the time of the session, I usually like to take that opportunity, before I hear anything from the client's mouth, only because I don't want to be swayed in any way.
Sure.
I take that opportunity to allow the spirit guides to just say whatever it is that they've been wanting to say for the 30, 40, 50 plus years that they've been waiting to really get a message across to their human. And so I kind of let that be the time where I just say, hey, I'm just going to let them say what they need to. And it could be a good 20 to 30 minutes of just bleh, of just
Sure.
a lot of information. Because of that, I do record the sessions for the people if they want to, so they don't have to worry about writing everything down or trying to remember everything afterwards, because it could be very overwhelming. And usually around that time, their questions that they may have do get answered. And if they don't, then I ask them to bring it up after I feel like their guides or whoever on their team is done getting what they want to across. Then I ask them, if we didn't answer any of your questions, go ahead, we can ask them now, and then see what comes through that way. And then I also do energy healing sessions as well, um, all remote. This is all remote, so um, and they are just as powerful, from at
Yes.
least the connection that I can feel, and then the feedback that I receive as well from the clients, just as good. So we don't have to be in person, but all remote, and even the energy healing sessions, and those are about 40 minutes or so, and I just go based on how I feel guided. I did learn the energy healing modality of healing touch, which is actually,
Nice.
um, yes, I love it. It's
Yeah.
actually evidence based. So I get continuing education for nursing because of it, which is wonderful. And a nurse came up with it. And being a nurse, I really love that. So I use healing touch when I do my healing, working a lot with the chakras and all that wonderful stuff. So, yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, Ashton just bought your book.
Oh, good.
So that's great.
Oh, thank you.
And then hang on one second. Where are we? T. I just and Nan just ordered guided 4.7 stars on Amazon. Great reviews.
Oh,
Can't
thank
wait until
you.
it
Thank
arrives.
you.
So thanks everybody. Thanks for doing
Not
that.
bad for being my own, like, writer and
No, I think that's
Yeah,
awesome.
thank
I
you.
think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, what is Janelle saying? When you say yes to yourself, the universe says yes back. Yes, by me. Intuitive motivator, best coin quote ever. Thank you so much. And then Priscilla found This is your
Oh, my Facebook
Facebook,
page. Yep. Uh-huh.
and
Perfect.
then this is once again your website.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
Nita says, "Can't wait to look the book up and buy it." Thank you, Nita. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
What what kind like okay, so you've talked about your soul team, and tell me what's your favorite crystal to work with?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Well, I'm currently wearing a moonstone. I've been wearing it forever.
Okay.
Um, but it was a gift from my mom. You could see back here, I actually have I'm gonna say it wrong, labradorite.
Labradorite?
Yeah. And I
Labradorite. Yep.
love that one because of how
Me
it looks
too.
in the light.
Yeah.
But I will say if I were to grab a crystal, during a reading for whatever reason, if I'm guided to, or in a healing, it's a clear quartz. Yeah.
Okay.
I go to the
Okay.
basics.
That's good.
Yeah.
I will do what are you doing, little girl? Leave it. Leave it.
Oh.
Hang on one second.
Oh, you're fine.
No. It's okay. It's
Oh, how's
okay. Don't worry. I gotcha. I gotcha. Okay. Good girl. Um, let's just say this. She sometimes licks areas that we don't want to mention on a live, but she licks areas and then she just like does this
ouch.
chattering thing, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And anyway, we won't go into that. It just
Poor thing.
yeah. So I've had two shocks today, two shocks on my life. This is something that I love to use. It
What is
is an aqua aura crystal, aqua aura.
that is
It's really great,
gorgeous.
and it's really great for um, brings in communication. I have that one. I
Oh.
have the um, Lumerian crystal,
Oh, look at that.
and this has like a pink hue to it. It's flat on
Oh,
the bottom,
wow.
and then I
Wow.
have this one here, which helps a lot. It's a lemon calcite. I love lapis lazuli. And then I'm going to introduce you to. Hang on, I'm going
Please,
to
yeah.
step away for a moment and introduce you to Bertha and Edgar. Bertha and Edgar.
Let me see.
Here's Edgar.
Oh, hi.
Edgar is a black tourmaline quartz from my
Wow.
friend Ginger. And this is Bertha. Bertha is a
Gorgeous.
blue. Oh, hang on. I had it up here so I wouldn't forget it.
I was just gonna
It's
say I'm
a
impressed you remember the
blue.
name.
It's um, a blue flash. Sorry, blue
Oh,
flash. Something. Ginger's gonna kill me, but I had it on
gorgeous.
here because I remembered it. But those are some really great things, and I think when we are working with, again, we're talking about the confidence piece, everyone. When you're working with confidence and building up your intuition, use the crystals to boost that energy. Really important, and really nice to have that extra oomph, because the crystals, they will ground, they will expand. Like you said, the quartz crystal to use, it's really important, and use those when you are doing. I've never seen Bertha. Edgar has a friend. Yes, I was going to do on May 25th. I will have a special Bertha show. So please stay tuned so you can meet Bertha. It's funny because I've always wanted to call um, Alexa. I wanted to call her Bertha. I'm like, can't we just change her name to Bertha? Because it'd be so easy.
I
Like,
think you
Bertha,
can.
turn
Can't
on the
you
TV.
you can
I
change
thought you
names.
could. I don't
Yeah.
think you can. Can you?
Or unless they're like a set already preset names you choose from, but you can. You
I
can
know.
change your names.
Okay.
I'll see if
Look
I
at
can find out,
Janelle.
let you know.
Just love it. B. Bertha and Edgar. Yeah, I love
Oh,
it
yeah.
too.
Just
Yeah.
be.
So yes, guys, Bertha. Anyway, do you guys and you have a little time to chat, don't you?
I do, yes.
Okay, excellent. Does anybody have any questions for Laura? I'd love to hear some questions that you guys have for Laura, on anything. It's so easy to talk to you, Laura. Really is.
Oh,
I hope you will come back again
I
and we can talk
appreciate
more
that.
about
I
the
would
book,
love to. Absolutely. Or whatever you want to talk about. Yeah, I'm
whatever
happy
we want to
to.
talk about. All right, let's see. Questions, guys. Let's go for it. Let's roll them out. Um, Let me
Everyone's just
go over
processing.
here. I know, because it is a lot. People, I think this topic, because this month is all about growth.
Mm.
And it is tomorrow next Wednesday, we're talking with uh, another author, and she will be talking about the soul's growth. And she talked
Ooh.
about her journey in a fiction form.
Ooh.
So I'm really, like, okay, how do people come up with this? How do people, I mean, I know that, yes, I wrote the book and I'm still writing the second book. I had a great idea, took the 4 chapters and redid them, and then wrote 3 more chapters, redid those, and now we're coming up to the piece that I'm excited about. But Chris, I'm going to pronounce her name incorrectly, and I'm really apologizing, Chris, if you're watching this. Chris Graff. I want to say growth, but it's Chris Graff. And we'll be talking about the soul's growth. And
I
she has some
think she's
2
going to
beautiful
be.
books.
I think I spoke with her. I think she might be a guest on my podcast sometime
Oh,
soon.
cool. That's cool. Yeah, because she's another one of
Yeah.
Janelle's. Um,
Yes.
Emmy says, different people have described different guides for me. None have seemed right.
Mm.
Hmm,
So,
fascinating.
very. My response to that is it's probably because, yep, this is coming in very strong. It's because it's going to be up to you to learn who your guides are. The fact that you already can feel when it isn't right means that you're going to be able to tell when it is, and it's going to be it's not going to come from externally. It feels very internal, whether it's a dream, whether it's an aha, whether you start to hear a name over and over again. But they're just really biding their time. I just really see them like they're like, "Oh, this is really good." Like your guides are kind of enjoying this. They're a little bit of a trickster vibe, is what I'm getting, but of course, in a very loving way. Um, I think it's good for you to have some challenge, perhaps. That's why they like to give it to you and not they don't like to give it to you so easily. And they do it this way also so that it feels 100% right within you. There's no question because your brain's very analytical as most of us are, right? Very analytical, but almost so where your guys have to work a little extra harder to get things across to you. So know that it's coming and it's going to be coming internally, and you'll know without a doubt when it does. They're
That's
just biding
awesome.
their
See,
time.
Emmy? See what happens step by step, sister. Step
Yeah.
by step. Nita says, I'm still in the who and where are my guides stage. More
Oh,
explanation is needed.
or exploration.
Um,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
exploration. Sorry, exploration is
Yeah.
needed.
And explanation. Where are
More
they? Yeah, they
explanation.
need to
Where are they?
explain themselves.
Right. Emmy says, the name Seneca sticks in my mind. It has for years, or yours for years.
Well, there you go. You already have the answer.
Oh,
You
you
already
have
have the
it.
answer. You do, and feel ooh, okay. So guided meditation will be really good for you. One where you meet your guides, so that Seneca, it feels feminine, probably because of the name, but whatever it is to you is right. But if you want to maybe get a more of a visualization, if you're visual, or a feeling of what they might look like, or what maybe lives they've lived, if you want to connect with them more that way, uh, guided meditation, and they're going to tell you which one to use. So whichever one feels right, that's the one.
And
Yeah.
guys, don't be shocked if it's a name that doesn't make sense. Like if it's like Lamara, or like something that you're like, what? As long as it isn't this name, and I'll tell you a quick funny story about this because that's how we roll. As long as it's not this name. Ready? Hang on, I gotta do it. Some of you already know this story. As long as it isn't, I'm waiting for it to spin. As long as it isn't this name, La'a. Okay, or La A. Let me just tell you a quick funny
I
story.
was like,
So
"Sounds like my name."
I, I was
Mhm.
I was in Chicago. I was a massage instructor, and it was downtown Chicago. And a student, I'm reading the roster. I'm like, how do I pronounce this name? La A, and her last name was Washington. So I said, I don't want to botch up your name. I'm going to write it on the board here. La A, La A. And I said, we'll just call you Miss Washington. And she got up and she said, my name is Ladasha. And her friend that was next to her, she's like, girl, why don't they just call you La Hyphena?
Oh, she must have
So
gotten that her
she
whole
gets
life.
her whole life, and God
Oh.
bless. She was one of my favorite students and one of my smartest students. So
Wow.
it's yeah, La Ladasha, everyone. Now you know the Ladasha story. Um,
Wow. That's
Hi
so
Angie, good
creative.
to see you. Danielle, good to see you. Emmy
Hi.
says thank you, Laura. It cracks me up that my guides come through to you
Oh.
strongly, but not to me.
It's probably
Tricky,
'cause I'm not emotionally
tricky.
involved with your guides as you are. That's normal. That's normal.
So normal. And Emmy,
Yeah.
this would be so right for you. So right, because they're like, gotta make sure, right? Gotta make sure.
Exactly.
Um, you have the book, you have the podcast. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
I would say through any of my social media platforms. So the Guided West 11 on Facebook, Guided West on Instagram. Also on my website, there's a way to email me. It comes to me directly. So you can email me that way. It's probably the best ways to do it because I get those messages. So
Are your sessions half an hour, 90 minutes? How do they usually run?
yeah, I do 45 minutes for the readings. If I do a reading and a healing, that comes out to, I think closer to an hour and a half. I say I think because I'm actually doing them this weekend. I should probably know that, but it's about an hour and a half to combine the two, and just to make time for the in between as well.
Right.
I will say as of right now on my because I'm putting a lot of my energy where it feels right, and right now it feels right in the podcast. So if you're looking to schedule something, you would need to shoot me a message. I don't believe I think I took it down for just right now the booking link to schedule something. So if you do decide that you want to schedule something with me, just reach out and then I'll send you the link to schedule.
And that link is great because you inspired me to get it and I got
Oh,
it. And
good.
then I'm like, oh, great. Now what do I do with it? I'm like, how do I do? Like,
You'll
how do
figure
I
it out.
do this, Laura? I'm like, oh. And
I'll
thank
help
you.
you. Let me know. I can help you.
Thank you. And yes, Instagram guided_West.
Thank you.
Janelle has a question. Thank you, Janelle, for putting the question marks in front of the question. I work extremely close with Archangel Michael, but my guardian angel says his name is Michael as well. Is it common to have a guardian angel have the same name as the archangel that you work with closely?
I mean, I would say probably not common, but possible, right? Anything's possible with spirit. Why they do it that way? Because it does. Oh, okay. Why they do it that way is because you have one name to call on both of them. One name to call
Right.
them both in. Makes it easy
Yeah.
for you.
2 for 1
Yeah.
special, Janelle.
Two
The
for
two
one. You
for
get a
one
twofer.
twofer. It's great.
How lucky are
It's
you?
awesome.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. And it is, it is easy. I mean, feel free to call on your new spiritual guide, Janelle Ladasha. She will help you in creating whatever you want to create. Um, okay. I've got a wind walker. I got a wind walker years ago, but kind of dismissed it because I was expecting Francis or something
Oh, a
more
name.
common. Does this seem possible.
Yes, absolutely. Because the name is for us, right? The name is for us. So that's why that's why we have the names. That's why we identify them as male, female, whatever it needs to be. So Windwalker, what a great name. I mean, what if maybe they have like Native American or
I was
I
just
know
going
what
to
do you
say
say,
that. Yeah.
First Nations have or what I want to be make sure I'm PC, but I don't know if I'm saying it right. But it could be that they have some sort of tribal history to
Yeah.
them. Yeah, right.
Indigenous people,
Indigenous.
right?
Yes, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Now here's my question to you, and then we'll go to some of the Janelle. Yep, that's exactly what I told them. Ladasha, good for you. Um, what is, because I explain this and I tell everybody, when I explain these things, these are my opinions and stuff that I've learned or come to learn.
Mhm.
And I really believe that in our past lives, we're with people. And if those past lives have not come into this life, they're like hanging out, like whoever, let's just call them Sally. Sally was with me in my last life, but Sally's like, yeah, I'm hanging back this time. I'll meet you in the next one. I call them a past life spirit guide.
Ooh, why not?
Why not? What else are they doing? I mean,
Maybe
I
planning
don't,
their next
I
life,
don't,
I don't know.
right. They're planning their next life. I mean,
Oh, that's
what
funny.
else are they doing? They are
It
hanging
doesn't
out
matter to
there and they're there to help. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I'll see a guide for somebody and I'm like, I really get that you were in London with this person and they're still dressed in this kind of
Wow.
attire. And I think, I don't know if any of we'll just call them the big gurus have
Yeah.
actually explained this, but I think it's a bit, like you said, anything is possible. I
Can I
really
share?
believe, yeah, please.
Yeah, so I did a reading for somebody once, and their guide at the time that was coming through actually told me and showed me how the guide and the human that I was reading for actually lived a life together. They were in war together in a past
Hmm.
life. And they actually switch off being each other's guides in different lives. So, kind of goes along with what you're saying,
Hmm.
where
Yeah, I
they
think it's
in a
fascinating.
past life, yeah, I was like mind blown.
Right,
I thought that wasn't possible, but that's why I've learned, anything's possible. Don't put limits
right.
on anything. Yeah.
Where are we? Julie says, I've had an uncle come to me to say goodbye and meet my son the night he passed.
Oh,
Fascinating. That's
they're
just
so good at
what
that.
a
I just got
gift.
chills. Yeah, I just got chills. They're so good at
Um,
that. Yay.
Hi there, Kathy. Good to see you. Now, Danya, I don't know what this is. The
Was it a picture?
images. Oh, is it a picture of your book?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I'm like,
I see what
a picture of your book?
like if it's an
Oh,
image of
yeah. And
something.
Laura, can you show your book again for those people that
Yes,
just
I
came
will.
on?
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. You guys, look at the book. So
So
please,
pretty.
please, please get this book guided. It tells Laura's story and it talks about the journey and her tools of crystals and
Yeah.
meditation and soul teams and mediumship. The cover alone gave me chills. It gave me
Right?
uh, oh, I said it's a meme of Ladasha. I love it. I love it. Danielle said, I've been told a few names for my spirit guides and some for different reasons, but should I be talking to one main guide?
Great question. To be honest, if that feels more comfortable to you, then by all means you can. But I will say that it doesn't matter to them. In fact, they've shown me before. I say they because it's just whoever on the other side. I was talking to
Right.
someone else and I guess I was doing a reading for them, and their team showed me that they're actually when they come in as a team, they're like this giant like nebulous ball of energy, and it's almost like whichever one needs to come forward, it's like that part of the ball of energy like pokes out more. I don't know how else to explain it.
No, that's a great
You
way.
know? Oh good. Okay. So to me, what that tells me is that you can talk to one of them and it doesn't matter because to them they're all sort of still together, like they're all a ball of energy, and they will respond how they need to, despite our humanly limitations of needing to only talk to one, or needing the names, or feeling like we're only talking to this one or that one. They're so forgiving as far as that goes. So if you want to, because I say a lot, I talk about Jason, my one guide. I do, but maybe he makes up a bunch of them, I don't know. But for me, it makes it more tangible for me as a human with this finite brain to be able to do it that way. So by all means, allow yourself and give yourself that permission, if that's what feels right to you, to speak with one guide, feel connected with one guide, feel like you're building a relationship with one guide, then by all means do so. Because to them, it doesn't matter. They're all love, they're all light, they're all there to help you in whatever way that they need to. It's just us making sure we're comfortable with that. So give yourself that permission.
So
Yeah.
true. So true.
Yeah.
And it goes in with line with what I do when I channel. I channel the keepers, the gatekeepers is what they call themselves, gatekeepers of the angelic realm. And they
Oof.
gave me a name, and it's Ezekiel. And people have been on here before when I've channeled, like, I didn't want to do it on Facebook, and I did it. And it was awesome. I've done it on my retreats, and I've done it in workshops.
So
But when
cool.
I did it on here, and everybody that's seen this before, it's interesting that each time I've done it, there'll be a different, one of the group people of Ezekiel, one of the groups, the groupies, or I don't know what you want to call them, one of the spoke people will
Yeah.
always have a different energy. The energy or the tone is different, even though it's this group
Yes.
called Ezekiel. The one that speaks up, it has a different tonation to it, which is fascinating.
Yes. I love
Um,
it.
Kathy said your book is beautiful, so I
Oh,
would
thank
agree.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Janelle says, listen to Laura West's podcast. Thank you. I will be on, and I will be on at
Hmm.
the end of the month, you guys. Um, and what does that get? Because does that get like on air right away, or do
It'll
we wait?
be like probably a month later. I have a
Okay.
lot of episodes.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Sorry.
we'll let you know, guys. We'll let you know. We'll let you know. So it'll be in June. It'll be in June. I just want to thank you, Laura, so much
Oh,
for being on. And you guys, please check out Laura. Check out her podcast. Check out her website, and do get the book. Can you show the book one more time? And
yes, I'd be
do get
happy
the
to.
book um, guided. I want you to take in this picture, you guys. Her showing it does not give it justice. Honestly,
No.
truly. If you go to Amazon and look up Guided by Laura West, you'll see the beautiful picture. I mean, look at how it's just that book cover tells me so much about what that book is going to be about without even knowing. So I just love it. And thank you, Priscilla. And
Yes, thank you.
um this is Laura's Facebook group. Janelle, love you too. She said, thank you both. Love
Love
you.
you. Thank you.
Awesome. And then this is again her website. So, guys, come visit us. Couple things. Come visit us tomorrow. Tomorrow is a free workshop with Ginger, Healing Heart Medium, and I. We're going to talk about how to grow healthy boundaries. Okay. Those of you that are empaths, those of you that are, wait for it, people pleasers, those of you that are, we'll just say, nurturers in a kind way, and those of you that are my favorite, fixers. So if we got the nurturers, empaths, people pleasers, and fixers, come on and learn what it means to say no. Learn what it means to say no, and
So important.
how do you grow healthy boundaries. We're going to talk tomorrow via it's free. Those of you that belong to the Inner Collective Facebook group, you already have the link there. If you want the link, go to, thank you, Priscilla, go here. Sarah says, thank you, Laura, so interesting and so informative.
Thank you. You're
I'll
welcome.
be there. Awesome. Thank you, Kathy. Janelle says sometimes saying no is saying I love you. So true.
Yeah.
And we're going to learn about that also on when is it? On Friday, we're doing Growing Your Psychic Senses Part 2. If you didn't get to be in the first one, the second one, I will send you the recording for this first one, and you can be part of the second one. The two together, it's a total of $33. Now, next Wednesday, we have, if you want to put that on there, Priscilla, uh, the next week and pardon me, the last two things on there will be great. Oh, thank you, Priscilla. She put on this one too. This is all about the two things. But we have, and I'm excited. I'm excited to find out more. And I'm telling you, the books that are, again, it's a fictional book by Chris Graff. I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right.
I think it's Growth.
Growth. Is
I
it
think it's
Growth?
Growth. I think
Okay. I hope so. And again, Chris, I'm so sorry if you're watching this.
I'm sorry
But
too.
so we're gonna have her on, and we'll have it, yes, the rest of May. And then the following May, because there's so many Mays in the year. The following week on May 25th, I will be on. We'll introduce Bertha once again. We'll talk about we'll talk about the news that I gave you earlier. And I'm going to talk about what we grow from our past lives. And that will be an interesting piece, what we will grow about our past lives. And for those of you in the Inner Collective, on Sunday, May 22nd, we're going to talk a little bit about astrology. So come join us. If you're not part of the Inner Collective, join us, and it'll be awesome. June is coming up, obviously, and June's theme is going to be prosperity. So I'm working on getting our speakers about prosperity. Can't wait to do that. Laura, please come back. I'd love to have you back on, and we can share and talk. And can you hang on for a second?
Yes, and I would love
Great,
to come
thanks.
back.
So everyone, as always, we are here to connect. And when we connect, what do? We educate. And when we educate, I'm pausing because you all know this, because I say it after every live. When we educate, we grow. There is unity in community. So important, guys, unity in community. So I'm asking you, if you haven't followed me on TikTok, please join me on TikTok. Join Patty, Kobo, and I on Clubhouse. What would woo woo do? And it's just been a joy. So from our hearts to yours, thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you for watching, and have a beautiful evening, and go buy Laura's book. Okay.
Thank you.
Talk to you later, everyone. Be well.